What is up, you guys, and welcome to a little mini-series that we're doing. It's not Primordial's Bounty. We would normally upload a session today, but due to Memorial Day coming in, everybody wants to celebrate that. So today, I'm here with Creepah, aka Starzin.
Hello.
And today we're going to go ahead and recap Arc 1 of Primordials Bounty.
Yippers.
And for the reason why we're doing this is mostly a me thing. Due to how much audio issues that we had through Arc 1, and the bits of confusion and stuff like that, some retcons here and there that I made throughout the process of Arc 1, I feel like a good recap would be a good thing to have, so that way if people aren't interested in watching through the 6 episodes of bad audio,
Which is fair.
which is 100% fair, they can go ahead and watch this recap and then catch up from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, as Joe said, I'm Creepah 108. I play the part of Starzin, the team's Lalafell Artificer, and as someone who obviously has taken a lot of leadership responsibilities, I'm just kind of being here to offer a lot of insight and takes to a lot of it.
Yeah, and we couldn't really bring Boss in because he wasn't there for all of Arc 1, so we really couldn't get any of his opinions on this.
And everybody else is busy.
And everybody else is busy.
So I'm about the only one who is actually there from day one.
Yeah, pretty much.
to actually help with the recaps.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So, alright. I guess the best place for us to begin is at the beginning.
Yep, let's turn the chapter back to the very, very beginning.
Which starts off with us introducing the world of Primaria, which is basically an entire world where the main race are elementals. And in this world, there are 2 kingdoms, the Leviathan Empire and the Phoenix Kingdom. And currently, they are at war in a continent known as the Holy Land of Terra. Because of the war, you and the other party members fled Terram to head over to the Leviathan Empire to escape the wars.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, for the most part. Everybody has their own reasons of why they want to leave Terram, but that's the main majority, is basically you're escaping the war.
We pretty much looked at the war and said, all right, we're out.
Essentially, yeah. And basically the scene began with you guys on a crack ship, transporting a passenger / cargo vessel, heading over to the island of Silver Bay.
The transport ship.
God, it's been
so many
memories.
So many interesting memories of bullshit going on.
Yeah. From introducing the NPCs that would be joining your crew later on, to meeting some other NPCs that basically filled the void with some humorous content, such as the two dwarven merchants that are brother and sister.
Oh right, I almost completely forgot about them. Jesus, that was a hell of a time.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, here you met Iris, the Bazorn, Iris the Vazorn Rogue, Harley, the Elven Bard.
Yep.
Then you met Storm Jim, the Rogden Sorcerer Cleric.
Mm-hmm.
Which, should I say the retcon here, or should I save it for an actual episode?
I mean, we can say the retcon here, but I think we'll also have to bring it up in session just as a reminder.
Fair enough. I'm changing her race to one D&D's Goliath because I feel like that fits more with the theme of this campaign. Because as much as I like Final Fantasy XIV and their races, some of the races is just like it makes sense, but it just doesn't. I don't feel like it makes sense in this.
Which is fair. I mean, the Final Fantasy XIV races are one of those kinds of things where it's like they're kind of meant to fit that niche setting that 14 has, and anything else, i.e. homebrewing into D&D, would require a lot of reworking and retooling. I think the Lalafells kind of get like more of an exception there because they're basically a simplistic race.
Yeah.
But you look at Rogden's and there's a bit more to it.
Yeah, the way I see it is basically if a gnome and a halfling had a child, they would be.
Yeah, which is a fair assessment given that in the lore, they're basically the halflings, gnomes, dwarfs all rolled into one race.
Yeah. Which I think I'm gonna make that canon, that, you know, if a halfling and a gnome had a child, there would be a subspecies known as lords.
I mean, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I mean, I have no qualms against it.
Kind of what I did with the auras.
Right, the auras.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm gonna change the name of auras to something else that's not sounding like that doesn't sound like it belongs in a hentai.
You know what? Fair enough.
Oh,
but
God.
Yeah, we met like some of the NPCs. I think the only other ones we met were Gale and Sage.
Yes, Gale the Air Genasi barbarian and Sage the tiefling arcane puppeteer.
Yep.
Which, as of right now, I'm posting up the images of what they look like as we go along the recap.
Yep.
So yes, you guys have been on the boat for about a couple of days, and it was all pretty quiet. There was casual conversations left and right. I remember you getting along with Harley when you first talked to him, when he was gawking at your arm. There was a lot of player-on-player conversations, such as when Liz was still around, talking about art,
trying to draw people.
Yeah, like, it could have gone somewhere, but it just kinda didn't in the long run.
Well, I mean, it was the first session, so I'm willing to say, I mean, it really, chances are it wouldn't have made that much of a difference anyway, at least at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, after you guys, there was some conversation with some of the NPCs, but not all that much. However, there was that funny little quip about basically explaining what sex toys are to the fucking to the fucking the two dwarf NPCs.
Wasn't this like with On and then like with like a Zilyana and then fucking Sips got into it because like it's something Sips wasn't familiar with?
Yeah, it was like they were talking about weapons and her types of weapons, and it just like it was basically replacing weapons with sex toys, essentially.
Yeah, I think I was just sitting there, just like sipping a coffee, just like, yep, this is my life now.
Just sitting there, just like, oh, I see. Well then.
Yeah, that was a funny little bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. But during that night, you guys were woken up by Captain Wilhelm.
Right.
And he woke you up because somebody was tampering with the secure room in the cargo hold that everybody was told not to go near, not to mess with, do not even look at it, kind of like this is off limits. And apparently somebody was messing with it.
Yep.
And I gotta say, when it came to that scenario, I was kind of hoping you guys would more so, like, try to jump in more with, like, rational reasoning instead of just Captain Wilhelm just picking you guys at random kind of deal. Like, I obviously I had to start off with, like, oh, you lot, it's like, oh, the fucking goblin, or stuff like that. It's just, nobody really jumped in at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this was also kind of like first session jitters that was getting to us, so it's like, maybe that's what it was. I mean, I guess I was still trying to get used to a lot of stuff and trying to think of something, which, granted, back then I really wasn't as quick on my toes as I am these days, which, I mean, even now I'm not nearly as quick on my toes as I want to be, but I'm definitely a little bit better than I was then, and that's fault on my part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair on that part, you were the one who was talking the absolute most in that scenario. When it came down to Gaines getting targeted for being suspicious,
He was being racially profiled.
Well, yeah. To be fair, to be fair, I think it was Iris or Harley that was based like, well, we have a goblin here.
Well, if I remember correctly, how that all started with, it's like somebody asked for like a roll to remember anything suspicious, and I'm pretty sure it was Liz with Akane, and Akane basically sold them out.
Right, yeah.
And then the blame somehow got shifted towards Gaines, either through them or for Captain Wilhelm himself.
It was definitely them basically racially profiling, because in this world, goblins, 90% of the goblins are basically in league with the warlord Gino, and Gino runs a black market all over Primera, essentially.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I'm not saying it's not justified, but I'm still saying it was really just racial profiling.
I mean,
it's fucked up, but it's accurate.
It wouldn't be a D&D game unless there's a little bit of racial profiling.
You know what? This is true. There ain't a D&D. It ain't a true D&D game if there isn't some form of racial profiling.
Exactly.
God, now I just wanted to hear Gaines just go full Ahmed and just go, that's racial profiling.
Yeah, and for those who are probably wondering, if you're watching Arc 2 and probably forgot, Kane was the half Wood Elf Samsari, which is a homebrew class that I found, which is basically like a more fragile monk that's basically all about spiritual connection.
Yeah, think of the best way I can describe it is like now the whole homebrew stuff that kind of came from the book where the Samsari is from, very Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Absolutely. That 100% inspired by Avatar.
Yeah, so the best way to describe it is the Samsari is more of like those benders that were like more spiritually in tuned. For the best way to the best way to really say it is kind of like that one monk in book 2 Earth that was trying to help Aang achieve the Avatar state.
Yes, the guru.
The guru, yes.
Yeah. For
like
a better
that would be the closest thing I could say.
Yeah, but for a better example, it would probably be more apt to be like Samsari are basically Aang, while Lacers are Toph and Zuko.
That would be a very good comparison. Because Aang was more spiritually in tuned, and Toph and Zuko were just all about controlled fighting.
Yeah, essentially. Especially reinforce that considering that I think Lacers are a D8 while Samsari are a D6 in their
I know Samsari are D6s, which makes them as squishy as wizards, with a few benefits that give them a little bit in terms of their health, but yeah, they're about the same level as wizards. Lacers, are they D8s? I'm gonna take a look real quick. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah. So Liz was playing Akane, the half-wood elf Samsari, and Gaines was played by Sky, who was playing a goblin fighter cavalier. And unlike the actual cavalier, I homebrewed that as well to make it a little bit more convenient, because if you think about it, if you had a steed, unless it's summoned by a spell like Find Steed, it's going to die, and then you have to buy a new steed, and then the whole emotional connection that you had with that steed would just be gone. So I decided to do a thing where it's just like, you can, like, you made this connection, you can now summon it. If it dies, you can summon it back.
It basically falls into the line of more of like a familiar than an actual creature.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, in my opinion, is a fair assessment.
Yeah, and I think it was a lot easier to do that. Also, not only that, I actually took something from Ranger. I took a page from Ranger, from the Beastmaster, from Tasha's.
Right, the Tasha fix.
Yeah, the Tasha's fix, where it also levels, like, it also gets stronger the more stronger you are. Because there is a thing where it's just like, yes, depending on what level you are, its HP increases and stuff like that. And basically, it came down to, eventually, he could have a steed become a flying steed. Or he can make his steed into a swimming steed. He's not stuck with a round base steed.
Right.
So,
and that actually would have been really cool to do. Also, yes, Lacers do have D8s. Yep. I just checked it.
Thought so.
It's been a hot minute for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, they decided to opt out for one reason or another. But currently, throughout Arc 1, they were the major players in Arc 1. Let's see here. After some bit of racial profiling from Captain Wilhelm, you were then attacked by a boarding ship that held a bunch of pirates.
Yep, rammed a good solid hole in the hull.
Yeah, pretty much. So basically, at that point, I gave you guys essentially a choice. either stay on deck and fight the pirates, along with the other Tempest militia and, along with the Tempest militia that were guarding the ship, or head downstairs where both Harley and Iris ran down to, along with Sage. They ran down to the cargo hold.
Yep.
And I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. There was actually 3 choices.
There were. Actually, this makes me curious. What was the third choice? Jump overboard and say fuck it?
No, the third choice was basically split the party.
Oh right.
Like I would have been full on. Like if you guys chose that, it would have been,
Yeah, I don't think that would have been nearly as much of a good idea, though.
I kind of would have. If you did that, it would have basically what I thought at that time was if you managed to kill the pirates that were on deck faster, and not to mention you had like all these Leviathan Empire soldiers on the top deck, along with Gale and Stormjim.
No, that's true. We would have had someone to pull aggro and someone to heal, so
And
that's a fair argument.
so if you guys took care of them while dealing with the pirates down below, you probably would have been able to catch the Phantom before he stole the treasure.
Right. Big probably, but
Yeah, it was a big probably, but it was an option.
yeah,
Or at least had more backup when it came down to dealing
being
with,
overrun.
Yeah, with being overrun. But you guys chose to go down into the cargo hold with both Harley and Iris.
Yeah, I think the reason I mostly went with it is because, it's like, well, despite the fact I have a giant fuck off arm, like most of my equipment was down there, so it's like, I better go get my other equipment just in case. Which was also at the time my shotgun.
The good old shotgun.
all reliable. It's okay. It's okay. I've got a new old reliable in the works. And it's gonna be way.
I just want there to be like, that meme where it's just like there's this girl walking towards the camera while the guy is holding on, where the guy just looks back while next to his girlfriend. I just want there to be like the girlfriend that's like shocked, like how could you do that? Is the shotgun while the girl that you're looking at is your new gun.
Is the new gun I'm gonna build. I mean, that's pretty much how it's gonna be, but I mean, I'm gonna say this much in my defense. That was gonna happen either way, because either I'm gonna have to wait to get it back, or I'm gonna have to buy a new one anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm cheating either way.
Fair enough.
If I'm gonna cheat, I might as well go all in.
Yeah. But back on topic. After, you guys went down. You guys managed to gather your equipment because you were told to leave your equipment in the bunker when you guys were told to head up and be interrogated by Captain Wilhelm. You did the smart thing by grabbing your shotgun. Sips, who was played by Clyde, managed to basically stow her weapon away within her robes.
Yeah, it's not very hard for her to do, honestly.
Yeah, it's not really that hard. God, who else had... I think Gaines had to take a scimitar or a trident from one of the dead corpses of the Leviathan Empire soldiers.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he made it work.
He made it work. I mean, that's kind of what fighters do. They make do with whatever weapon is thrown into their arms.
Yeah, and they have the capabilities to do so. I mean, they are fucking fighters after all.
Yeah, and Akane kept her fans because nobody's gonna suspect fans.
Yeah, no one's gonna suspect a fan that just that upon closer inspection has sharp edges.
Besides that, she's a waterbender. You're in the middle of the ocean. Of course, her weapon is the entire fucking ocean.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Cut her arms off?
No, I mean that's a possibility.
That just reminds me of that one fucking meme. A slight tangent, but the one meme where it's like a D&D thing where it's like they like outside of a city gate they disarm everybody of their weapons. The monk comes up, you can't disarm me, I don't have any weapons. So they literally take his arms and legs, and he's just strolling around the city in a wheelchair.
It's even more funny because in Legend of Korra, in one of the seasons, there was a waterbender that did not have arms, and she used waterbending to fucking make water tentacle arms.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's the funniest thing about Avatar and by extension Korra. It's like the benders just do not give a fuck. Yeah. Pretty much. They can make do. But anyways, yeah. Gaines got it. Gaines picked up some weaponry from the dead trooper, and yeah, then the rest of us kind of just kind of took position and we're just getting ready to brawl that shit out.
Yeah.
I mean, Zilyana really didn't need her weapon because she's a spellcaster, so.
Yeah, it was pretty much even ground when you guys were fighting the pirates. The only thing that was basically making the only thing I had on you guys was basically time, because one of the pirates was trying to break into the secure cargo hold.
Yeah.
And after a good couple of good rolls on their part, they managed to break in, but you managed to kill the other pirates just in the nick of time, and Akane actually ran in after that pirate who got stabbed by a mysterious hooded figure with an opera mask over their face, which we labeled as the Phantom.
Yep.
Which, I will say right now, neither Akane nor Sips tried to do anything. When they arrived to the door, they're like, oh, he's trapped. Time to go take care of the pirates. And then I'm like, alright. He casts the door and leaves.
Yeah, that is true. They didn't really try to take advantage of the fact that, you know, he was just standing there T-posing.
Yeah, it was just like, you guys just stand there. And you're just like, well, what do you do? It's like, well, I mean, there's pirates out there. He's trapped in here. There's nothing he can do.
Alright, cool. He's fine. Alright, cast dimension door.
Which, honestly, I feel like you guys probably should have figured that out. Like, wait a minute. He was in a locked room. How did he get in there in the first place?
I mean, true. I mean, well, I'll say this in much of my defense. I was fighting. I didn't have the time to process the information.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
I wasn't the one standing at the door. I was too busy trying to blow heads off.
Yeah, but that was your second opportunity to stop the Phantom from taking the book.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'm glad you didn't, but there was an opportunity for you to do it.
There was an opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh
well. But after a few more rounds and Sips constantly... Well, actually, no, Sips doesn't get knocked out yet. She gets knocked out when the pirate captain arrives, along with two more crewmates. And being the glass cannon Sips was at the time, before we made the appropriate fixes, decided to go do a 1-on-3 fight.
Yeah, that didn't end well.
That did not end well, in the slightest. Like, it baffles me so much that she is, like, and you'll understand this as you go through all of Arc 1, how many times Sips gets knocked out because she is not supposed to be soloing all the enemies?
Yeah, like, like, this is what I will say. Credit to Clyde that he actually thought and was actually more or less supposed to be really difficult to hit, even at level 3.
Unlucky for Clyde. I roll good.
Well, this comes to the other problem that tends to come with high probability to dodge characters. And this is actually something I know because this happens in even other games that I play, like BattleTech, for example. Things that are really hard to hit, but still have a minuscule chance of hitting. Like, we're talking on like a roll of like a 19 or a 20. That being your AC in this case. There's a chance it can hit, and what I will say in that circumstance, from watching Clyde just think he's untouchable and just rush in without thinking, but also from playing other games, if you throw enough shit at the wall, something's going to stick. It isn't a matter of if you get hit, it's a matter of when you get hit.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Clyde, like, I will say, it's not 100% Clyde's fault on that front, mostly because it is because of my rolls that he keeps
half of that is just
hit.
Yeah, half of it is really just a bad mentality tactic. The other half of it is just straight luck.
Look, the dice gods love me, man. They love me so much that they want to kill your guys' asses. The amount of natural 20s I get in a session
is stupid.
And here's the thing, I have to fucking screenshot it, take photos of it, to fucking prove to you guys I'm not bullshitting you.
To be fair, it's not something I don't expect to happen, but god damn.
Yeah.
The luck of that is just, especially at the times that it hits throughout this entire campaign thus far, is just, it's mind-boggling, the probability.
Yeah, when I hit, I fucking hit. That's kind of how all my luck works. It's like, it's either I miss or when I hit, it goes off.
You either miss or you touch me in my no-no square.
But yeah.
Yeah, Clyde went down
several times. You keep on bringing him back up, which revealed that Clyde is no ordinary person under all those robes, and it turns out to be a Slimefolk.
Yep.
Which is a race that does not exist in this world.
At least officially.
Well, I mean...
You know what I mean.
Yeah, biologically.
Yeah, so that kind of was a shock for my character, but being the mostly logical and mechanically minded person that he is, he just thought, you know what, I'm not going to ask questions right now, we have more pressing matters.
Yeah, so after a few more rounds of combat, you did manage to take out the crew along with the captain, with Zilyana using one of her hexes to cause madness onto the captain, and the captain just simply surrendering because, well, the cavalry arrived as the Tempest Militia, along with Captain Wilhelm, Gale, and Storm Jim, rushed down to basically surround the pirate.
And let's not forget Zilyana's play of the game.
The hex?
No, that was the what was it? It's the one that like allows her to move shit.
Oh, finagle.
Finagle.
Yeah, so Finagle basically allows her to move objects, and she could basically use them as projectiles to make them fall or hit somebody. So she basically used the cargo hold as her ammunition as she kept on dropping boxes onto the enemy.
Big, heavy crates.
Yeah, while Harley was casting Shatter to deal the most amount of damage, which all of that basically deducted your guys' final pay when you guys arrived to Silvervein for the capture of the pirate captain.
Look, to make an omelet, sometimes you have to break a few eggs.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you guys did a good job. They just, careful next time.
I make no promises on that.
Fair enough.
If there's collateral, there's collateral, and there ain't nothing I ain't gonna say. I ain't gonna say to or fro on that.
Fair enough. But yes, after you guys took care of the pirate captain, Captain Wilhelm went into the secure cargo hold. Akane talked to him, saying like, "Oh yeah, this mysterious guy came in, was holding a box, and he vanished through a door that opened a rift through dimensions." And essentially had you guys, as soon as you landed to Silvervein, escorted to talk to Governor Kane.
Of course, this was all before Wilhelm just reamed her.
Yeah, there really wasn't much of a reaming. It was just like...
Was it not a verbal reaming? I could have sworn there was.
No, there was... No, it was more so like, as soon as Akane said that the perpetrator used Dimension Door, he was immediately like, "Get the Gale Archers, look out to the sea, look everywhere. He must be around here somewhere." Like, try to get the guards to basically do an active search to see if they could spot the Phantom, which they were unsuccessful.
Well, to be fair, the range of Dimension Door is very far.
Yeah, 500 feet.
Yeah, so chances are, and this was like dead of night.
It was breaking morning by the time everything was done. So.
Well, I mean, I guess my point is, it's like 500 feet at that time of day. They probably weren't likely going to find anything. Yeah. At least not within their field of view.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But after.
Yeah, the talk with Kane.
Yeah, the talk with Kane. You guys were taken into Silvervein. You were, surprisingly enough, you guys were fucking around as you go from point A to point B, with Gaines buying a whole bunch of oranges, Sips trying to buy a painting, and just Akane admiring the walls.
No, we didn't get to admiring the walls yet.
She was admiring the architecture of the building.
Yeah, she was doing that. She was not admiring the walls. We will get to that.
We'll get to that. But essentially, you guys make it to Governor Kane's establishment, which is basically like a rustic urban 2-story building.
I mean, I gotta give the man credit. He has taste.
Yeah, well. You went into his office, which contained many people that would, under the right dress code, would probably be labeled as pirates. But they were there for essentially backup, just in case if you lot tried to pull something. Because, let's face it, there were a lot of you.
There were a lot of us.
It was you 5 plus Harley, Iris, Gale, Jim, and Sage. So
yeah,
10.
There were about 10 of us, and a little extra backup, although I probably was thinking that although honestly, just for us to try anything would have been a stupid idea.
Oh, absolutely. But you met Governor Kane, who was a older human. Yep. Doesn't have a mustache, but has a really long, thick beard. And the most defining characteristic on him was an eye patch that had a demon's eye in it, or a devil's eye.
Yeah, I thought you said it was a devil's eye.
It was a devil's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after you guys basically explain the situation of how you guys fought the pirates and essentially let the Phantom get away, you were basically under suspicion and were warranted to be held under arrest for basically under suspicion of collaborating with the thief. Because as much as you guys were like, well, we didn't do anything, we were here helping the guards, like, true, but you didn't do anything to try to stop him from getting away. And using words alone doesn't really help your case.
Yeah, we're just guilty by association.
Yeah, pretty much. But luckily for you guys were given a chance to clear your guys' names.
Oh yeah, because if we weren't, we probably would have just been on the next ship to the fucking prison island.
Nah, they wouldn't do that. The prison island is mostly made for people that are extremely dangerous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're talking. So basically, we're talking like people that actually go to Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Not like common petty criminals.
Yeah. Basically, if I were to put it in simpler terms, to people who don't know what Alcatraz is, and are anime fans, the fortress that they're talking about is, think of it as Impel Down in the ways of security and who goes there.
Which, to be fair, I don't know. Well, that's not true. There's probably a lot of people out there who don't know American history.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I had a fucking argument with one of my DMs yesterday about how gun blades existed in history, and he's like, oh no, it'd be too broken and it doesn't fit with the fantasy. What do you mean it doesn't fit with the fantasy? I can show you proof that a gun blade exists.
I mean, when you think about it, gun blades really have existed. I mean, it's called just a gun and a bayonet. Tell me I'm wrong!
I mean, yeah, that's true, but I actually did some looking in, and there are guns that are blades, like, that aren't bayonets.
Like, people have actually, like, forged and smithed a gun to a blade as one whole thing.
And it's funny because he was saying, like, oh, that's broken. It's like, how is that broken? And then proceeds to tell me how a gun can be broken with 3 feats. Not the gun blade, the gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. If your argument is based on the range of the gun compared to what a gun blade is kind of designed to do at close range, look, I respect that everybody has their opinions, but to me that's just kind of mind-boggling. It's literally got a blade on it. Why would you not use a blade? Use the blade when someone is that close. Just saying.
Yeah, but that's neither here or there. But eventually you guys did agree to Kane that you would help in this investigation to clear your guys' name.
Yeah, some of us were less enthusiastic about it. Others just took to it as it is what it is.
Because it is what it is.
It is what it is, don't get me wrong, but I was also, with me particularly, I was playing to the character.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the question was, during that entire interaction, what were you feeling at that point?
Annoyance.
Annoyance.
Like, oh great. That's great. I get stuck in a ragtag group having to do an investigation because I was on the same ship as someone who stole an important object that they don't even tell us what the fuck it is.
I will say, to be fair,
I mean, it's fair. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying this as what my character was thinking.
Yeah. Not to mention the other reason why he picked you guys instead of being like, oh, well, throw them in jail, was because based off the reports, he understood that you guys were capable.
Well, I mean, that's a fair argument, especially considering we managed to hold off those pirates and hold our own in that entire endeavor.
Yeah. So this is basically killing two birds with one stone, essentially.
Which is a fair assessment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my character was just kind of annoyed and just kind of thinking it's like, ugh, I have to help this dumb people, this dumb empire. Ugh, kill me.
Eventually. But for right
Which
now,
he came around. He comes around. He comes around.
But eventually, you guys met your next optional crew member in the ways of Metra, the elf wizard, which, you know, is in the shape of a child. That was probably the other thing that pissed me off throughout the entire time of Arc 1.
Nobody fucking questioned it.
No one questioned a damn thing.
Oh my god, I know. It's honestly something that kind of fills me with regret because I was literally this is the thing that kind of pisses me off about myself personally, because I never thought twice about it.
I was like, oh, she looks like a child. She's the size of a child. She's a fucking child. And you're like, alright, so off to the murder nest inn.
Yeah, like, and it pisses me off too because, like I was not separating myself as a player versus the character to question it, and that's what pisses me off the most about it. At least me personally, because I was not looking at it as a character. I was looking at it as a player and just thinking, whatever. Like, that was my whole thought process, and I actually hold regret about never questioning it, because I think I really should have at the time, and I really think everybody else should have at the time, but I couldn't tell you what's going through their heads. They're not here.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I know On is normally off in the La La Land, not really trying, or no. I bet she was paying attention. She just couldn't figure out when was a good time to jump in, because that was the entire thing with On, was like trying to figure out when's a good time to speak, when not's a good time to speak, that sort of stuff.
On's either like just like in ADHD mode where he's like fixating on multiple stuff, or he's trying to wait for that good time to jump in with Zilyana, but not wanting to cut everybody off, and that's conflicting with a lot of his mannerisms, so that could be it.
And Clyde was focusing on something else.
Now, Clyde went full ADHD and just focused on something completely different at the time. That's probably the best guess I have.
Yeah. Liz...
I got nothing on that one, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah, I got nothing on Liz either. And then there was Sky, and I was just chalking up to being like, he's a new player, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So you were introduced to Metra. A high elf wizard of that practiced the ways of chronomancy. She took you over to the Murder Nest Inn, a tavern with the sign of a raven in a nest with a bottle of booze, and you were introduced to the owners, which were Faye. She looks like a normal human. She has long, like very long black hair, a gradient dress that goes from like night blue to black, and her husband, Talus, who was a crow kenku.
Right,
crow.
Right, that's what his race was.
Yeah, crow kenku. And here's the other thing that everybody missed out on was the ravens taking the orders, and after the orders were done, they flew into Faye's hair and just disappeared.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I really should have been asking about as a As an intelligence artificer player, based very heavy player in those regards, something I really should have taken note of and kind of questioned.
Yeah,
But I mean,
if you guys were curious on what that was all about, essentially, there was a race called, I think they're called the Swarm. It was a race created by a YouTuber by the name of Chris Zito. He was part of Team 4-Star, and currently on the Unexpectables season 2, well, season 1 and 2. He makes a lot of homebrew races and content and stuff like that, and I'm a big fan of most of the things that he makes. Hell, even the Vazorn was a race that Zito made.
mm-hmm.
And
yeah, so was she a swarm? Or was it just an aspect of her hair?
yeah, she's a swarm. Basically an amalgamation of ravens.
Interesting.
Yeah. A lot of raven and crow motifs in the Murder Nest.
I mean, I obviously took that hint, but I guess my biggest thought process at the time about Faye was like, it's like, oh, okay, so she's just she's one of those people that just has animals that just live in her hair. Kind of like Iris from from Pokemon Black and White with her and Axew living in her big fucking ball of hair. Ponytail.
Yeah, that's understandable.
If you know what I'm talking about.
So, after you guys made it to the Murder Nest and you met with Faye and partake in some drinking and along with some gambling with Captain Seabeard for a game of chance to get a treasure map.
Yeah, we did do that.
Yeah. You guys decided to head off to do some investigation on trying to find leads to figure out where would be the best location to find the Phantom. You went to the black market, which the entranceway was a giant maze, and you took Iris, Zilyana, and Gale, while Akane went off to the church of Usi, the aspect of water, with Storm Jim and Iris.
Iris
was sorry. Storm Jim and Metra. My bad.
Yeah.
And while that was happening, Sips snuck out of her room and basically was sitting at the beach, admiring the view, trying to get her thoughts off of the current situation of her being trapped within the city, and also finding some rumors, but eventually was met up with Gaines and Harley, which basically they went around the town and talking to the local populace and try to gather rumors that way.
Pick up word on the street.
Yeah, which, after a bit of time, you all managed to find the appropriate amount of rumors where you not only found rumors, but also found your next party member, along with other information as well from a goblin. I believe his name was Gorm?
It was Gorm or it was Goth. It was either Gorm or it was Goth, because those were the only two goblins who ran the black markets on Silvervein.
Yeah.
One of the two. I think it was Gorm.
Yeah, I think it was also Gorm. I think Goth was the one in the fighting pit area, which we'll discuss later.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Yeah, you had a conversation with Gorm, and essentially it boiled down to you wanting information, and him basically being a giant-ass prick, because both Iris and him had a complicated relationship.
They have a bit of a... dirty history.
Yeah, something along those lines. And essentially, he was going to give you information if you made him a device that is worth the money of getting that information, which would have taken you. If thinking back on it now, how we've been doing the ways of how you would make items, it probably would have taken you like 2 days to make, 2 to 3 days, probably.
Easily. I could have easily spent like that amount of time, maybe even less, if my rolls were good to make something
Yeah.
that would have appeased him. But I think also, but at the time, I think we were just kind of looking like, okay, he's obviously trying to butter me up for something dirty. So it's just like I looked to like the others, kind of thinking this probably isn't worth it, is it? And everybody, Gale and Iris were just giving me the look of, yeah, no, this ain't worth it.
Gale was ready for a fight. Iris was like, no, this was not. Matter of fact, she basically told you, like, normally people who are under his, like, whoever does stuff like this for Gorm, they always come up with a reason for you to stay. So
They try to find a way to legally enslave you.
essentially, yeah, along those lines. But so you declined, and you, well, actually, we're missing a step because we skipped over the fact that you met your next party member.
Oh yeah,
Was Harvey.
yeah, we met Harvey and then talked with Gorm.
Harvey, the dwarven alchemist.
Yeah, met him in the black market, just taking a nap behind his stall.
Yeah, essentially. He likes to sell bombs.
And I should really use his bombs more often.
You really should. So you bought some of his bombs. You basically told him, was like, oh yes, you're. You basically commented on his craftsmanship of using garbage and basically modifying it to be lethal explosives.
Which, I mean, to be fair, that is kind of ingenious. Waste not, want not.
Yeah. And because of that, he was willing to tell you that he did see a mysterious figure going to, I believe he said it was going to Silverleaf. Yeah. That the figure that you were hunting down was going to Silverleaf. Akane, after talking to the father of the church and admiring the walls.
Admiring the walls.
Yeah, with little to no conversation with the priest that worships the avatar of water. For being a waterbender. Was spiritually connected with water.
Hey, I should probably spiritually talk to this priest.
I fucking brought in like, yes, I'm fully aware of the Frog Clan, the Gripply, who are blessed with the knowledge of bending water. And I try to open up this door of having a conversation with the father of like bring back memories of her home during her time in her tribe, but no, fucking stare at the wall, admire it.
Admire the wall and its non-existent artwork.
I wanted to die.
I think we all just wanted to die inside at that moment, because I think at that one moment, we all just looked. We would have all looked at each other if we were in person. All looked at each other, had the same look on our faces, and just internally say, "Yep, that's Liz for you."
Yeah, yeah. But eventually, she did get the information that the target that one of the other places that was suspecting of the target was over at Silver Coast, and the information that they gathered from that Sips and Gaines gathered from the local populace was that the target was going to Silver. Silver Blade?
Silver. That sounds right. There were like 3 options available to us: Silver Leaf,
Silver
Silver,
Coast, Silver Glade. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, Silver Coast and Silver Glade. Yeah.
Yeah. Which eventually, when you guys all converged, gave each other information, introduced the new party members to everybody else, you all basically decided to split up in the ways of the main party consisting of you, Zilyana Sips, Akane Gaines, and Faye and Talus's son, Kalis, to go to Silver Leaf, while Metra, Harley, Harvey, Iris, Jem, and Gale went to Silver Coast, and a small group under Kane's employ will head to Silver Glade.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And after a bit of downtime, and you're about to head off in the morning, this is where we get introduced to Kalis.
Yep.
Kalis, the Air Genasi Bard.
Mm-hmm.
Who originally was reluctant to take you guys to Silverleaf because he had other plans that day. But as a form of punishment for basically trespassing onto one of the neighbors' lawns, Faye basically told him to take you guys to Silverleaf.
Yeah. And he was reluctant the whole way, and we just kind of dogged on him and reinforced the punishment.
I will say, he wasn't reluctant all the way. He was accepting of it. He just was like a little bit annoyed that he had to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at. I chose the wrong words. Sue me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can, but I wouldn't get much out of you. So...
You really wouldn't. It'd be a massive waste of time for both of us. Only I'm coming ahead because I annoy the fuck out of you.
But after a bit of conversation with him, and after basically taking a small detour to a cave that was basically located on the outskirts of the forest, which, based off the map, contains the treasure, you guys decided to go on a bit of a splunking venture to find this treasure in the cave.
Yep. The treasure we won on a game, because that was the gambling, and I was the one who won it by cheating.
Yeah, it was bad cheating looking back on it.
Hey,
it was so scuffed.
Hey, I didn't get caught, so it doesn't matter.
It's like, I was like, alright, how would you like to cheat? Can I use intelligence? Sure, why not? How do you use your intelligence? Something?
Yeah, I mean, it really was scuffed, but I mean... Yeah, I'm really gonna have to work on that going forward.
Especially if you're trying to get into card games.
Yeah.
But anyways, you went into the cave. Actually, how about you explain the cave adventure? Let's see how much you remember.
Well, from what I remember, it wasn't a very large cave, but when we first got in there, we kind of had a little bit of a kerfuffle with the what were they, like dog moles, right? Something like that.
Yeah, dog moles.
Right. Yeah.
And the constant bashing from Clyde saying it's like, oh, those aren't big.
You're right. Yeah, we kept getting pretty screwed up by those. I think it actually got pretty bad at some point where, like, I think Zilyana even went down at one point.
She was close. She definitely was close to going down. I don't think she went down completely. She definitely got hit very hard with a claw attack.
Right. I remember, like, I think I remember, like, I was patching I was, like, doing a lot of patchwork, and also just trying to slam a couple dog bowls with my fist because they got too close.
Fucking broke the back of one.
Listen, when you get that close, you're insistent on a fisting.
Yeah. And Kalis drove one of them away by using Dissonant Whisper.
Right, that's right. He did use distant whispers to make one just retreat and run off, and we never really saw that one again.
Yeah, it fled from the battle.
It's a fuck this shit, I'm out.
Even though that is not how Dissonant Whispers worked, but it was fine.
I mean, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah, after that kerfuffle, we patched up, regained our senses, kind of moved on to following the path to the treasure chest. We saw the we saw the treasure chest just outright, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. It was.
Yeah,
No. It was buried. And you saw the dirt mound, and you began digging, and then you found the treasure.
Right. Okay. I couldn't remember if it was like out just sitting there out in the open, because like that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, no, it was buried.
Yeah, so we unburied it. I idiotically opened it and rummaged around in it. And
I will say, it was filled with, like, there was gold pieces, but it was mostly dirt and mud.
Yeah. Yeah, idiotically, I did not put two and two together, and let's just say the mud bit me.
The mud 100% bit you, as a mud elemental formed out of the treasure chest.
I never learned, do I?
No.
But I mean, I guess better me than someone else who wouldn't have been able to take it. Granted, I can't take the hits either.
Yeah.
At least I can heal myself.
Honestly, here's the other thing that I find interesting and nobody has picked up on yet. You're in a world where elementals are the primary race, but yet elementals have so far been hostile to you.
That's true. That is actually very true. Elementals have been 100% out for blood.
I will say there is a reason for it.
No, I'm 100% sure there is a reason for it. I just don't know. Like, in my opinion, it could literally just be anything.
Now, I will say, during your time in Tarim, there have been elementals that are nice.
Like, backstory-wise?
Well, yeah, backstory-wise, like, there are some good elementals, but so far the elementals that you've encountered have all been hostile.
Interesting.
Yeah, something to think on.
Yeah, you're giving me something to think on. I kind of hate it. Anyways, well, yeah, the mud elemental kind of decided to give me the taste to fuck around and find out. Because I definitely fucked around when I shouldn't have and found out. But we were able to deal with it relatively simply. I mean, it was really just a straight simple fight. I mean, the only difficult thing was the fact that it had resistance to like non-magical damage, which unfortunately the only one who actually had an effective counter was me, because being the subclass of Artificer I am, it essentially basically gives me a magical weapon with from level 3, from the level 3 get-go anyway.
Yeah.
Which is handy. But I will say, compared to other magical weapons, it's nothing special.
And to think, I was going to double its health.
Yeah, that would have just dragged on.
That would have dragged on.
Like, I'm kind of glad you really didn't, because not because it would have been too hard, but just because it really would have just been a drag. Because I'm the only one who can deal like full damage to it outside of like Zilyana for magic and Kalis for magic too. Like, because everybody else was pretty much restricted to like facing resistance because none of their weapons are magical.
Yeah.
Which, kind of sucks. But we had a counter and it worked. It's just it took a minute.
And you guys did come out on top at the end of it. Some of you guys being injured in the process.
Yeah, the mud elemental really wasn't what I would consider a really hard fight. It was just one of those. It was just one of those ones that was just. It was tricky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was simple, straight to the point, and just, it was a good fight. It was simple, straightforward, just glad we didn't double the health, because then it would have just dragged the fuck out.
Yeah.
But after we defeated it, we were able to get the looty from the chesty. And, that's when Clyde actually got his first magical weapon, which was like the moon-touched blade.
It was a good,
right?
It was a moon touch blade. It was a good common weapon that sheds light up to a certain radius, and because of that, it makes the blade magical, so it can overcome resistance.
Which is handy. So he got a magic weapon, which good to have. We all got some good payments. We also found a portrait in there.
It wasn't a portrait. It was a pocket, God, what are those things called? You put a picture inside of it. It's
Oh, that's right. It was a locket. Yeah, it was a locket.
And inside the locket, it had Captain Wilhelm.
Right. Yeah, it had it was a locket with Captain Wilhelm in it, and was that really all we got?
There was some other things, like there's some gems, some gold, there was a mask there was a blue mask with like silver thread lined in it that Sips has as well.
Right.
But on top of that, even though like you guys got a boon, there were some casualties in the way of Gaines getting a broken rib. Right,
yeah, because he took a beating that session.
I will say, despite the fact, like, Gaines did not have a magical weapon, he was doing an absurd amount of damage.
Oh yeah, he was not letting that stop him.
No, he was
just going full, like, credit to Sky, because despite being a level 3 fighter and, of course, obviously not having a magic weapon, he made the most of his kit, and that's commendable. Like my hat goes off to him.
Yeah.
Not to mention, he was just not only dishing it out, he fucking took it like a champ.
Yeah. Especially with his racial feat, like, that basically gives him Scourge of the Small infinitely, but only one time per round.
Right.
That helped, along with the Cavalier stuff that basically does extra damage if the enemy is attacking another enemy, use the bonus action thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of things going on with Gaines that just made him a valuable fighter.
Yeah, he was, his whole kit and just combining it really just made him a real powerhouse, especially at that low level. Mm-hmm. Like he knew how to roll with the punches and just make everything work. Like I said, hat goes off to him.
Yeah.
Because all I did was just punch with my magic weapon.
Yeah. And I will say, the other thing is, during that both those fights with the dog moles and the mud elemental, Kalos was helping you guys with healing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he absolutely was, and honestly, he's actually one of the valuable assets we had in that fight, because
even though fucking Clyde kept on giving him shit.
Yeah. 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 I got nothing else to say there.
But after that detour, you made it to Silverleaf. The first stops you went to first was the hospital, and then you head over to the tavern, the Wood Hollow Inn, and you talk to, I think her name was...
Yeah, that's where stuff starts to get a little hazier to me.
Yeah, you talk to Lydia, you're trying to get information. I know Sips was trying to gather information in the most sketchiest of ways.
Right, wasn't he, like, trying to fucking...
Like, no questions asked, put down gold is like, we're trying to find someone.
Right. He was trying to, he was, like, being really... Like, I was like, was he trying to, like, buy the information or something? Like, was he trying to sell or buy something? It's like, right, he was totally acting like a fucking hitman.
Yeah, exactly, and everybody was like, look, man, we want nothing to do with what you're doing. But after a bit of conversation with Lydia and getting some rooms for tonight, you head over to the hunting lodge and talk with the chief huntsman, which is an orc fellow by the name of Gra.
Yep.
Essentially, you guys basically discuss, like, hey, we're trying to find this guy. We're under orders from Governor Kane, and eventually, like, at first he thought it was like, oh, you're here to deal with the fucking, with the Guardian of the Forest, since they're cutting off the fucking hunts in that area that they're guarding. And you're like, no, we're not here for that. Like, why the fuck not? We're here for a much higher priority. What's a more higher priority than us hunting? And essentially, Gaines was like, hey, how about we fucking say that we're here to deal with that problem?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's high priority to them, but ours kind of comes from the top. So it's like, on the one hand, both of us are technically right, but I mean, yeah. I mean, we ultimately did go with the options like, you know what? How about we do this? We'll scratch your back if you scratch ours.
Ultimately, what you could have done was just say, oh yeah, we're here for that and also this.
Yeah, but I guess we just felt like being more brutally honest than we wanted to.
I like how you say we, even though it's you that did most of the talking.
Yeah, yes, the best part of we, me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I. So, the consensus that you brought up was essentially you would investigate the Guardian of the Forest, take care of that, so that way the hunters can finally go back to hunting in that general area, because that's where most of the best hunts are located.
In exchange for their assistance.
Yeah, for exchange of their assistance with trying to locate the Phantom, and where they might be.
Yep, and that was a side quest and a half.
Oh yeah,
because that pretty much resulted in us traveling out there and basically trying to like track and see whatever was going on, and then we got cornered by wolves in a robed and a hooded figure.
Yeah, mistaking you guys for bandits.
Yep. And we're just...
Which honestly, you guys You guys had a chance. You just rolled really low on your persuasion checks.
I mean, what can I say? Sometimes it's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, which broke out into a fight. You guys fought a bunch of wolves. You tried to tell everybody to not kill the wolves, but
Yeah, I specifically gave strict or like the strict requirement. Let's not kill the wolves, because this is probably someone of druidic power or relation, and I really do not feel like pissing them off more than already is, given this is a misunderstanding.
yeah. Which kind of led to, like, originally Gaines was following that order, but due to the fact that Sips got knocked out by wolves
For the upteenth time.
He's like, I
All bets
think
are off.
Yeah, he's like, he looked at you. He's like, they drew blood first and killed like one of them, one or two.
I think he only killed one of them, and I just looked at him. It's like, I understand your thinking, but god damn it.
You know what? Tough but fair, but god damn it, we were having a good thing here.
Exactly. It's like, tough but fair, but god damn it. The funniest thing I also find about this whole scenario is, like, for the beginning of it, Zilyana was caught in that trap.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she walked into that, like, one spell that doubles as a trap, or is a trap, and was just casually upside down through like the beginning conversation.
Like, imagine, if you will, like, you guys are like it, like, for the audience at home that don't really see that can't see the map. Essentially, it was like there was the floor, then there was a cliff, and on top of that cliff was the hooded figure along with the wolves that jumped down, and scattered all over the map were a bunch of God, I can't remember the spell. Snare, I think it's what it's called.
Maybe?
Yeah, I think it's snare. Basically, that trap, that spell was scattered all over the place, and essentially, if you stepped on it, you would need to make a dexterity saving throw. And if you fail, you're suspended up in the air until you break out.
Yeah, and like, actually, now that I recall, didn't Zilyana get caught in like 3 of them?
She got caught in one of them. No, yeah, she only got caught in the one.
It was only the one? Okay. For some reason, I remember.
So, he was caught in one. I know Gaines got caught.
Right. It's like, for some reason, I just remember it's like she got caught in the beginning one, got out of it, then mid-fight, she got caught in the second one.
I think that was Gaines.
It might have been. Because
I know he got caught. I think the thing with Zilyana was the fact that she was stuck in the trap for a very long-ass time.
I mean, yeah.
Well, Gaines eventually broke out, head up to the top cliff, got caught in a trap that was up there, and eventually you managed to talk out the assailant and basically come to a reasonable understanding, which leads to our next party member, which was Jade.
Jade the bunny.
Yep, Jade the lupine, created by DM Tuz.
Yep.
Again, another D&D content creator that I am a big fan of, especially with some of the races that have been coming out recently. Would highly recommend checking that out.
I mean, really check out all his races. They're all really solid and good.
Yeah. God, is he the only race? Was that the only race that I've used?
I think so.
Yeah, I think the Lupine was the only race that I've had in this campaign so far.
Sounds about right. Oh Jesus.
Could be wrong though. But yes, after you had a bit of a conversation with Jade and come to an understanding of like, you guys aren't the bandits, and we're here to find the bandits and take care of them because they have the cargo. You guys come to an understanding after a bit of a burial with some of the wolves that were killed in the process. You head back to the hunting lodge, explain to Gra the situation, and you found out that the bandits were located in an abandoned lodge, log house.
Yeah, it was abandoned and just a ways out.
Yeah, a bit of a ways out. And essentially, based off of Jade's account, there were a bunch of bandits holed up in there, along with the individual that's in a black cloak. And because of their arrival, nature she explains that nature felt unbalanced, like something was off.
She just had a feeling that something was not right.
There was a disturbance in the force.
Yep.
Essentially. Which led to you guys strategizing on how to deal with the bandits.
Yep. That is how that went. We pretty much kind of we all kind of just reconvened at the lodge and just kind of we're kind of all brainstorming some ideas of what to do.
Yeah. But the main consensus was that you were gonna sneak behind the back entrance and surprise the bandits through there. While the other hunters are out in the woods, in the front of the woods, prepare to fire if any of them try to escape through the front entrance.
Right, yeah, that was the plan. Our plan was to go through the back and cause a ruckus, and then if any of them tried to go out the front, they would just be unleashed by a hail of fire.
Pretty much. Which I don't think the bandit encounter was all that difficult.
No, not really.
I know you guys had to deal with the Berserker. That was basically an NPC barbarian.
I mean, even that one was kind of a cakewalk, honestly.
Oh, right. There was 2 drow assassins as well.
Yeah, those probably were the only quote-unquote problematic ones, along with the Berserker, but, I mean, then again, the only reason they were kind of as annoying as they were was because they were like, weren't they using, like, Misty Step to get around?
I don't think it was Misty Step. I think, well, maybe. I could be wrong, but I don't think drow can get Misty Step naturally. I definitely think it was because I think it was definitely because they pulled a surprise round on everybody else. Like, there was a surprise round you made, and then they made a surprise round because they were stealthed way beforehand.
Right. That may be where I'm getting it wrong.
And I know one of them did a sneak attack on Sips, knocking her out again.
Yeah.
I will say, for every session that there is combat, there was not a single combat where Sips was not knocked out.
Yeah, I think this was also the point in time where he also got didn't he also get a lingering injury around this point in time?
Yes, but I think it was from the wolves.
Yeah, that's right. He did get the lingering injury from the wolves.
Yeah, because it was like internal organ failure, bleeding, or whatever the fuck it was called.
I think it was just organ damage.
Yeah, organ damage. Oh fuck. Yeah. I think that was the point where we began to realize that Monk wasn't as good as people thought it was. Like, from my experience looking at monks, they look pretty good. especially in late levels, especially with the first campaign that I ran with Clyde playing a monk. He was pretty fucking busted.
Was that the Menagerie?
No, it was well, I mean, it was in the same world as Menagerie, but
No,
it
it
was
was Interlopers. I'm stupid.
yeah, it was Interlopers, and he was
I'm
playing
stupid.
he was playing a monk, and he survived all the encounters that he was entangled in, and he became even more broken when I gave him the gloves of soul catching.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was actually pretty decent at that, but I think he was also just getting kind of cocky.
Probably, yeah. That, and also because of my fucking high rolls that I kept on getting.
Yeah, it also didn't help that through a lot of those attacks that he was actually trying to make, he could not roll higher than a 10.
Yeah.
Like, remember that?
Yeah. That was like the other thing. It's like he was getting bad luck while I was getting the insane luck.
Yeah, that was just pure bullshit.
Yeah.
I have to agree with him. That was fucking bullshit.
Fucking bullshit. Yeah. So, but after a few rounds of combat, you managed to knock out some of the people.
Well, I also feel like we should bring up that Liz and Akane had a really good idea to use Tidal Wave to kind of push the bandits towards the front door and maybe even out. Didn't actually work out that way, but it actually kind of like more or less stun locked a few of them for at least a good round or two, which was actually pretty handy.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of Liz's most ingenious plays I've seen.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we tried so hard to tell her like, tidal push is very limited on how you want to use it, and you know,
she proved us wrong.
She proved us wrong. Essentially, what tidal push is essentially the gust of wind spell, but with water. That's basically what that move is.
Well, the other difference is gust of wind is like stationary, and tidal moves with you.
No, gust of wind also moves.
Does it?
Yeah, it pushes wind from you, so if you move, it moves with you.
Huh. I do not remember it working that way from the other game we saw it in.
That's because we didn't read it all the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never mind!
Yeah, it's not that spell would be Wind Wall, or Wall of Wind.
Yeah.
Which that is stationary.
Yeah, I know all the wall spells are stationary, but anyways, back to the whole aftermath.
Yeah, with Akane doing some ingenious planning, Zilyana using her her cursed spells, one of them being you know, I can't remember that spell.
Which one?
It's like they make a wisdom saving throw, and every action on her turn, she can automatically deal 1d12 necrotic damage.
Right, that was the one that we flavored as pins, right?
Yeah.
God, I cannot remember that one. It's drawing a blank on me.
I can find it. Give me a moment.
Wait, was it a spell or was it one of her hexes?
No, it was a spell.
It was a spell? Okay. It was, God, that's really bugging me.
Don't worry, I'll find it.
Yeah, needless to say, pretty much some died, others got captured. And, after some really civilized interrogation, we got some answers that we wanted.
Yeah, and the spell's called Halloween Curse.
Halloween Curse, that's right, it was Halloween Curse.
Which is similar to Witch Bolt, but instead of rolling to attack, they need to make a wisdom saving throw or take the necrotic.
Yeah, and doesn't it, like, last for a while?
Lasts the same amount as Witch Bolt, which is 1 minute.
Okay. I've never used Witch Bolt, so I don't know.
People
Which is
say Witch Bolt is a bad spell, but if you manage to get a critical hit on Witch Bolt and you cast that at a high enough level, woo!
I mean, I wouldn't say Witch Bolt's a bad spell. I mean, I've actually kind of been wanting to use it. I just never had the right class or opportunity to use it.
Just automatic critical hit damage as an action for the entire time you're concentrating on the spell, man. That shit is deadly.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there's a problem with it, but I mean, what spell doesn't have its problems at this point? Let's be honest.
Especially if you're a divination wizard and you roll your portents and one of them is a natural 20.
Oh yeah, I mean,
definitely tack that onto a Witch Bolt.
Oh yeah, easily. Because at that point you could just fuck shit.
Yeah. But yes, after the combat, you did some snooping around, and Sips basically became a puddle and went underneath the bed upstairs into a hidden bunker. And that's basically where you first found your first clues onto the whereabouts of where the cargo is, which turns out to be a book known as the Book of Vile Darkness. And the person that currently owns it is a necromancer using basically the book to help further his necromantic research into making much more powerful undead creatures instead of the basic skeleton zombies and stuff like that a normal necromancer of the wizard variety can.
Necromancer, but better.
Exactly. But after, you guys found the journal of M, read through it, and how he stumbled upon the book, found out that it was taken by Kane's crew while he was on the cargo ship, and writing down that the person that first stole it, the Phantom, hid it underneath the crow's nest, and he, after finding that out, this in particular person, this necromancer, took the book for himself and started enacting his research.
Yep.
Which gave you guys the clue that the person that has the book was not the Phantom. That this is a completely new character involved in this investigation.
In this convoluted scheme.
In this convoluted scheme, yes. And both the Phantom and this necromancer are at large.
You thought we were dealing with one perpetrator. No, we are dealing with two perpetrators. The second one stealing, which was rightfully stolen from someone else.
Yeah. But the other hint was the fact that this cottage, that the log house also belonged to the Phantom, was when Kalis found the rapier that the Phantom had that nobody picked up.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I really do not remember the Phantom having a rapier.
Well, that's because originally I didn't bring emphasis to it, and also the only two people that saw the sword that the Phantom had was Akane and Sips, and I had them roll history to see if they can figure it out, and they both did not roll high enough to connect the dots. But essentially, there was a clue there that, hey, the Phantom was here at one point because his rapier.
Right.
And so, because, you know, it fit better in Kalis' hand, he decided to take the rapier.
I mean, it's a good weapon.
Yeah.
1d8 piercing.
And after that, head back to Silverleaf. You head back to. Well, I mean, you did head back to Silverleaf, but after.
Yeah, we did head back to Silverleaf to get the prisoners escorted and just kind of clear up everything and just basically tell Gra, hey, thanks for helping us. We'll send word to Silvervein and hopefully get some stuff sorted out for you guys.
God, I just now remember that one confusing bit that Clyde was trying to do.
Like he was trying to gaslight you on.
No, well, I mean, there was plenty of gaslighting, but that wasn't it. He was trying to basically be like, all right, basically told Draws, like, all right, you need to separate the prisoners, put them in one, basically tie them up, put them on one side of the town, and it's like, trying to take control of the situation of like...
That's right.
And I'm just sitting here like...
You are overcomplicating this.
You're overcomplicating this. Also, you're not... Like, Gra is the official mayor of this town. He knows how to handle this situation.
Let the man take care of his prisoners, and then he'll ship them off.
Yeah, it was so fucking confusing. Of like, why is he acting in on this? Like, all right, what you need to do is basically put them in separate jail cells and have them separated so they can't collaborate with each other on their alibis. And it's like, well, our jail. We only have one giant jail cell. Like, we're not a big town, and crime doesn't happen all that much. It's like, okay, well, tie them at one end of the city, and then you tie them onto the other end of the city. It's like, what, for the animals who fucking attack them and feed on them? No, that's inhumane. It's like, no, we'll keep guards out to protect them. It's like, listen, just let me handle this. I know what I'm doing. And he had the fucking gall to be like, fine, whatever, and be frustrated about it. I was like, the fuck are you doing?
God, I remember. The memory's coming back now.
I was so fucking confused. Like, why was this a thing? What was the goal here, Clyde?
I mean, Clyde doesn't need a goal these days. He just needs to be Clyde.
He just does because that's who he is.
Exactly.
Oh Lord, it was just so confusing on the motivations that were brought upon that day.
Yeah, that was definitely a conversation.
Yeah.
Then we went back to Silvervein.
Yeah, you went back to Silvervein, and you talked to Governor Kane, explained the situation. He explains to you about the Book of Vile Dark, which is basically a recipe book for all things that are dark and evil.
How to make this perfectly evil souffle covered in darkness. 5 easy steps.
And now you understand why he had a big concern with wanting that cargo back.
Well, I mean, yeah, once he explained it, it's like, oh, this is okay, you know what? Understandable. Have a nice day.
Well, to be fair, the whole point was to make sure nobody else knows about it, because the less people know about it, the less likely people would want to find it.
I mean, true. It's a fair assessment to keep it really under wraps. Don't get me wrong. I completely understand Governor Kane's motivations as a player. I can perfectly understand it. Now, it's arguable if I should understand it as a in character, but that would also require me just to delve deeper into the knowledge, and that's something I just didn't do.
Well, on that same note, as he explains why keeping it a secret is such a good idea, in comes a message from Commander Rivers saying that Gale Meadow, one of the towns in the middle of Whitestone and Silvervein, was being attacked by a horde of zombies.
And we just all look at each other and just go, fuck.
Essentially. Which Governor Kane asked you guys to take care of it, and you all agreed to do it. Like, it wasn't a command. He genuinely asked you if you can take care of this problem.
And we genuinely agreed. It's like, yeah, we've really gotta, this is something we gotta stop.
And so, after a bit of conversation on who you would want to bring with you, which everybody was going, from you guys in the NBC, everybody was going, except for Kalis. Kalis was staying behind to help his father out with building, help with shipbuilding, because that was Talus's occupation.
Hims was a shipbuilder.
Yeah.
The whole plan was for us to go. It's just like some of us would go ahead of time, and then the rest would act as backup or the cavalry in a sense.
Essentially, yeah. And you guys ended up bringing you ended up bringing Iris and Jim with you on this expedition.
Yeah, we did.
Which ultimately it was a good choice to bring.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we ultimately really just decided on Gem immediately because undead cleric, we need that. I think she was our first choice.
Undead versus cleric. Cleric normally wins.
You don't fuck with the cleric.
Too bad she was underleveled to the point where she didn't get that channel divinity.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because she was a multi-class.
Yeah, she was a multi-classer between, like, sorcerer and cleric.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, I mean, she was still a reliable healer, and as a spellcaster, I mean, reliable spell offense. So I mean, even then, I really wouldn't say it was a bad choice.
Yeah.
She had healing and firepower.
Yeah, which by the way, during your travels, which led to your guys' first encounter with the Phoenix Kingdom.
Yeah, we did encounter them on the way because they just up and attacked us out of nowhere and demanded immediate surrender.
Fucking shot your horse dead.
It was just like, okay, motherfuckers. Cock's shotgun with malicious intent. It's on.
Yeah. Which honestly, I'm glad that encounter happened because we got some character development from everybody. Well, some people.
Yeah, some of us.
Even though some of the character development was confused character development on your end.
Shut up. Shut up. I fucked up my character development. I completely fumbled what we talked about for my backstory. I've cleared it up now. We're good.
Are we though? Are we really?
No.
I thought
because my poor little potato is traumatized.
Very much so, yes. And we also found out that Sips will kill the Phoenix Kingdom soldiers and indiscriminately.
Yeah.
I will say
I got nothing on that one though.
The one moment where Liz tried to do something, I was like, yes, go on, and eventually she fumbled it, was when she was trying to tell Sips not to kill the one soldier.
Like the ones we tied up on the side of the road?
No, so Sips knocked out one, and she knocked out another one. Actually, I think it was something along the lines of there was a knocked out soldier, and she killed him basically cut the throat of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And Liz was like, why did you do that? That was unnecessary. And, originally trying to stop her from killing, but kinda did nothing in the ways of trying to prevent her from doing.
Right. Whew. Yeah, that was a bit of a day for most of us.
Yeah.
Someone trying to get their character to do something, other being conflicted, and then just maybe being a dumbass.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more I can say about mine. I mean, mine was just fucking stupid. I have no excuse on mine.
But there was more to come as you eventually arrived to Gale Meadow.
Yeah, we arrived and definitely found it turned into a shithole.
Most of the buildings were torn or knocked down. The buildings that were standing were barricaded to high hell, with some of the wood being made into spiked barricades. Like, it was pretty run down with the amount of corpses that were on the streets as well. And to make the atmosphere even better, it was raining.
Yeah, it was, things looked grim.
And it even looked even more grim, because if you look down the road, you just saw a dome of gray and green fog, like covering the entire cemetery.
Yeah, that was definitely the cherry on top of the grim cake.
Yeah, which, after talking to the mayor of the town, Mayor Gale, how a hooded figure came into town, he took him in for supper, and essentially during the night, he summoned a obelisk to come forth from the grounds of the cemetery, and basically made it into a cursed patch of land where undead will come out from the cemetery to attack the folks in Gale Meadow.
Yep. Which the mayor was none too thrilled.
Absolutely not. But you guys went to investigate it.
Yep, I think we decided to do it at a very specific time, but because, like, I think, wasn't, like, the condition of it, it's, like, it's there, like, during the day, but at night it disappears, but, like, the undead just overrun the area at night.
Yeah, essentially what it was that the dome was there to basically... It was basically keeping the undead in, and at night when they wake up, the dome would lift and then basically unleash the undead horde from the graveyard.
Right, that's right.
And to prevent people from wandering in, it provide like that sense of fear and dread to wash over those who come near it. And I will say this was the next bit that frustrated the hell out of me out of it. And it wasn't your fault in particular. It was mostly on Clyde's end that frustrated me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Was like, I explained like the situation of like you guys walk in as basically the feeling of like fear, dread, and doom just washes over your guys' bodies as you wander into the graveyard. And I was just there, just fucking around, like acting his normal self. I'm like, a guy.
Please take this seriously.
Please take this seriously.
Yeah, because everybody else was like actually trying to act a little bit mortified and terrified. It's like hell, I even had my character. It's like kind of shaky, but like ultimately, well, here goes something.
And his immediate reaction was like, I'm gonna run up to the obelisk and I'm gonna attack it. I'm like, and I'm just sitting here, basically doing a Jim face from The Office. Just look at the camera.
With like the most deadpan fucking just deadpan done on your face.
I was so upset with Clyde with how, like, how, like, I'm like, ah, yes, you're wandering into the graveyard, and you can feel the sense of death flow over you as you continue to take each step in. I'm gonna run up to the obelisk and try to attack it.
You feel proud of yourself?
Which I'm glad he didn't do. Because I had a thing set up to where if you attack the obelisk, all the undead will come out and attack.
Yeah, I honestly thought that was the case because it was empty, but like nothing was there. It's like okay, something could trigger the undead at any point in time. Let's not fuck with shit.
Oh yeah, basically the trigger point was if you attack the obelisk or try to disrupt the obelisk from whatever it was doing without trying to find the source that would basically destroy the obelisk beforehand, all the undead would have been flooding out to attack you.
Yeah, and that would have been a hell of a situation.
Oh yeah, I had some zombies, I had some skeletons, I had some underwater zombies, some beasts that were skeletal or zombified.
It was about to turn into Day of the Dead.
Essentially, yeah. It was basically if you were fighting a horde from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But on all ends.
Yeah. Also kind of a good thing we had Iris, like, scout from the air.
Yeah.
She's our handy eye in the sky.
The one eye in the sky.
Yeah, it's not eyes in the sky, it's eye in the sky.
But after basically stopping Sips from attacking the obelisk, you guys found the runes that are around the obelisk. And with your arcane check, you've deduced that there is a key that's linked to the obelisk. If you disrupt the key, the obelisk will go away.
Yeah, and then we found, like, it was, like, tracing to, like, did we find that it was tracing to the mausoleum?
Yes, but before then, Clyde had to point out, before I even had the chance to point it out, just kept on binging the fucking mausoleum. It's like, alright, you need to find the key. Bing, 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 bing. Yes, I'm getting to that.
Oh, right, yeah, he was just constantly pinging the screen on Roll20.
And everybody was fucking laughing at that, but I was just...
You were just done.
I was so frustrated with him. Like, dude, I am trying to set up a scene. Let me cook.
Work with me for like 5 minutes, then you can just shitpost.
I think I even posted a meme of that situation. I went out of my way to make a meme for that particular situation.
I mean, if you did, I don't remember it.
Oh man, it was...
That had to have been like a long while ago.
Oh, it was a long while ago. It was basically the next day after that session.
Was it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I really don't remember some of this stuff. Really, some of the after stuff that we did. But, yeah, we went to the mausoleum. You zoomed in the map further and further to show that we're approaching the mausoleum. Entered and investigated it. Very cautiously. And then didn't we see like there were runes on like a particular coffin?
Yeah.
And that was the key, quote unquote.
That was the key. Basically, you walked into the mausoleum of it was the Omar family estate or family mausoleum. And the key was on... It wasn't a key. It was a circle of runes that was basically linked to the obelisk.
Well, that's why I said key, quote unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, it was on the coffin of Alphonse Omar.
Yep.
Which do you want to continue on from there? What happened next after you found the key?
Well, to put it simply, we tried to investigate, then Alphonse, old boy, he comes out and just decides to have a little conversation with us while kind of ranting like a madman. Even with the full madman tick to his personality.
Something along those lines.
So yeah, we had a conversation. We had a very short conversation with him where we tried to handle it non-violently, which I'm honestly convinced there was no way we were gonna avoid a fight that time.
Here's the thing. You guys were saying the wrong thing.
Which, no surprise.
You were saying like, oh no, we're not here to, it's like we're here to help the townspeople and stuff like that. Where he was like, his entire thing was that fuck the townspeople. Is like they're out to get me, and it's like you're basically saying like, oh, we're here to help stop all this to save the town.
In other words, we should have basically been more ambiguous on whose side we were on.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, lied about it.
Yeah, there was a way for you guys to avoid the fight. It's just you were saying all the wrong things.
Yeah, but I don't think lying would have been as much of an option because, well, unfortunately for me, I just don't like the idea of it, and just don't consider it a good idea. But it's also kind of made worse by the fact that it's like, you got Sips and you got Akane, who are like the truthful goody two-shoes characters in a sense. More so Akane in that sense, but because Sips is just more of like, doesn't know much about the world and is probably more inclined to be truthful in some circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's like, I don't think that lying worked, but at least not initially, because then someone would have had to have slapped a hand over Akane's mouth to shut her up. But ambiguous probably would have been the way to go for us. I mean, because we could have obviously handled that better, but
yeah. The other thing was
like I said, how it happened is how it happened.
Yeah. The other thing was like, if you were like, he was a madman, so if you told him like, hey, if you want to cause more ruining to the town, if we remove the key, it would unleash a much greater evil to the town, and he would have let you done that.
So basically, we could have just pulled the dumbass card out.
Yeah, because he's mad. He is insane. Like he lost all rationality and reasoning. Like if you tell him like, hey, the town fucked you over. You're paranoid of their actions. How about we remove this key that's on your coffin? Or something along the lines of like, this key is actually making the town more it's protecting the town from the undead. If we remove it, the undead will do its job completely and destroy the town.
God, I'm actually kind of hearing that. I'm honestly kind of a little mad I didn't think about that, because that would have been a funny plan for me to pull out. It's just like, listen. Just go casually. Listen, we'll go to Taco Bell, get you 2 bean burritos if you let me remove it, so we can fuck that town over.
Essentially, yeah. Like there was a way around.
Then Alphonse just goes, "Oh, you go make me act up."
So yeah, it would have. Yeah, there was a way around it. It's just none of you guys were saying the right things to say.
We were too dumb.
Well,
or too truthful, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that dumb. It was just more so you were thinking you're just being too good. You're
being too goody.
Yeah. Which ultimately it broke out in a fight. You got knocked out. Pretty fast.
So. Well, I mean, to be fair, it was a very inclined space. I was the closest person, which, for the record, I do need to go on record and say this. Before the fight even broke out, bitch grabbed me in a chokehold.
Which, I will say, you did not learn your lesson from the mud elemental fight.
No, I did not, and I will probably make that same mistake sometime in the future, and I'm going to hate myself and say I never fucking learn.
Yeah, it was the most difficult fight that I've ever ran. Like, not in the way of like, oh, it was too complicated. It's the most difficult fight because I didn't want to kill you guys out flat.
Yeah, that one kind of turned into a bit of a clusterfuck. It really wasn't helped that the mausoleum was kind of cramped, so it's like we were kind of already forced into a close quarters engagement, which not all of us are really good at that.
Now, I will say there was nothing stopping you guys from leaving the mausoleum.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was at the far end and he was in the middle.
Disengaged.
Some of us could have run, but none of us could. But not all of us could have.
You could have disengaged.
Only pussies disengaged. I'm kidding.
Says the Lalafell knocked out on the ground.
Like I said, I would have died, but I didn't. But at least I didn't go like a bitch.
Fair, that's fair.
But no, joking. Disengage is a total viable strategy. Do it, and do not be like some people who forget that it exists.
Yeah, don't be afraid to disengage, especially if you're not meant to be up on the front lines.
Yeah, that was even. But me going down was even funnier because it was enough to warrant the lingering injury roll that I failed.
Oh my god, right.
And
it did so much fucking damage that you had to roll on the lingering injury table, and I fucking jinxed it for you.
Yeah, you made it worse by jinxing the roll to like determine what the injury was, and I got the worst possible one.
Fucking brain injury, which
because it was psychic damage.
It was. And I'm like, oh, I feel bad. And then I remember Akane had a inspiration. I'm like, do you want to use it to save Starzin? It's like, yeah, I'll use it. It's like, good, re-roll.
Yeah, because if that didn't happen, I would have been fucked.
And I like how the only person that was mad about that was fucking on like, you should have let it happen.
That's right, I wanted it to happen. I also think he just wanted to see me suffer, just casually. Which
yeah.
I mean, with on tough but
fair, yeah.
For context, me and On just love making each other suffer. we're those kinds of friends.
They're masochists with benefits.
We are masochists with benefits.
Alright, so...
But yeah, the inspiration was spent. I thankfully passed the roll and was just casually family guide position on the coffin.
Yeah, but then you found out the only way to erase the key was to kill Alphonse.
Yeah, because once I got picked back up, I tried to, like, get to the magic circle on the runes and investigate it to see that if removing that was actually going to make the fight end quicker or whatever, and I told everybody to buy me time.
It would have if you had Dispel Magic, but since you didn't have that, you would have to kill Alphonse. And for those who are probably wondering, well, if there was another way to avoid the fight, how were they going to get rid of the key? Alphonse was going to deactivate the key himself.
Oh, he would have?
If you managed to get it, if you managed to talk him into it, yeah, he would have disabled the key himself.
Wow, that would have been double on the dumbass card that we would have pulled.
Well, it would have been on the same dumbass card.
Well, it would have been 2 for 1, but anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that out after doing a quick investigation. We kept fighting. Iris had a really funny fumble with missing her shots with her gun, but throwing the dagger fucking hit.
She shoots multiple times, it fails. Throws her dagger once, it succeeds. Like, what the fuck?
The funniest part is that she was next to me, just looks at me, and just, like, throws her hands in front of her. It's like...
She gave the clone high hand, just, like, raises up, like, why?
I just look at her, just like...
I'll tell you.
I don't know. Like, just casual... injured Lalafell with a black eye. Shrug. I don't know.
But the one thing that came out of that entire fight that I am so happy that happened was the triple backstab.
The triple backstab?
Because when Alphonse let loose a thing that basically makes people attack the closest thing to them,
right! Oh my...
I got Sips, Gaines, and Jim to attack each other, and it was the most special way possible. Basically, Sips attacked Gaines, knocking him out. But before that, Sips attacks Gaines, knocking him out. And then Jim attacked Sips, knocking her out.
Forgot about that.
Jim is just standing there like, what have I done?
Oh my god, I completely forgot about
it. It was the triple backstab.
That was so fucking funny.
And I'm just like,
Jim was like, oh my god, I gotta pick them up, I'm sorry! Oh my god. No. God, that was so funny. Whew. And then the fight ended shortly after that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the fight ended after that, and I gotta say, that was probably I don't know which one was more difficult, the Mud Elemental fight or the fight with Alphonse.
Honestly, Alphonse.
Yeah.
But I only really think it was Alphonse because it was a mix of the luck, and it was also just the circumstances. Because I think Alphonse had much better damage potential at that point in time, and that and our luck was just not there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, your guys' luck was shit. But not only that was the thing of, like, it was immune to necrotic damage, and most of Zilyana's stuff is necrotic based.
Yeah, so she was, like, almost useless.
And Alphonse also had magic resistance, had non-magic resistance from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, which was good for only 2 of you guys, which was you and Sips, because of the sword and your hand.
Yep.
But everything else was just downhill from there. But
yeah,
you all pulled out ahead.
Barely, but we won.
Yeah. Which, afterwards, You talked to Gale and the rest of the town. You were congratulated for that. You helped rebuild the town. You celebrated. Sips did the dumbass idea of fucking telling them that it was all Alphonse the Mad's fault. It was his rage and ire that caused the obelisk to rise and caused this entire thing to happen.
Yeah, that was something Sips did.
Yeah, and then after a couple of days, the rest of your NPCs come in. You filled them on the information, and then you found out the sad history of Alphonse the Mad.
Yeah.
Where the story is essentially Alphonse was the mayor of the town, and he normally goes off on a fishing trip once every 2 weeks. And on his fishing trip back, his last fishing trip back, he was basically accosted by a sea hag that stole some of his memories and made him paranoid, to the point where his paranoia caused him to attack the townsfolk. Due to the paranoia and the only way to cure it was to defeat the hag that caused the paranoia to begin with. But, since sea hags are everywhere, and finding the one that you're trying to find is finding a needle in the haystack. Yeah. Which ultimately, one night, Alphonse ended up killing his wife with his unborn child. And because of that act, he was sentenced to death.
Yeah. Grim shit.
Yeah. And yeah, essentially that was it for Alphonse and the Mad, and that's pretty much halfway through the first arc, essentially. And I think, honestly, at least for right now, I think this is where the recap for the first half will end right here. Because the next half has a whole lot more in it as well.
Yeah. This was kind of like the appetizer. Now the next part is really where the main course of shit begins.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is where we kind of had like the small bits of adventure where we start building relationships, do all this and that, and then afterwards it was kind of the whole the real threat kind of looms over, and deeper bonds of the relationships start to form.
Yeah.
Or roughly thereof. We start getting more bonds and more deep relationships, whereas everything up to this point was kind of just like we're starting a relationship. We're starting to build a bridge there. Everyone.
I do have to ask, from the parts that we've discussed, like what were throughout the entire time through the first half of Arc 1, what were your thoughts on this?
Personally, going through all these points, I was honestly more and more intrigued and just kind of taken aback as time went on, because I was like, at first I was kind of thinking, okay, let's get the Phantom. This will probably be relatively simple, but then it's like, okay, Necromancer, Book of All Darkness, the plot has thickened, and oh boy, it is a thick bowl of oatmeal.
That's normally how I do my D&D games, is where the first arc is basically the setup for every other arc, and I kind of did that with my first campaign, Interlopers, as well, by adding in small little crumbs that would branch off to go into other things.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I really liked it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it kind of seems really simple at first, but then then you like get it, but then as time goes on, you start to get it. It's like the typical D&D trope. Like the deeper you dig into it, the more to it there is. Be it like a conspiracy or just more people trying to get in on it, or people trying to perform specific acts of espionage or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It's like there's always more beneath the surface as you dig into it, and like that's what I really liked, and like I felt it was really well delivered and executed in a lot of ways, and it was really good. I mean, and of course there was a lot of the other minor stuff where we talked to the NPCs, had some interesting conversations, saw more of what their capabilities are, learned a little bit of some of their background. That was really cool to see. But, I mean, ultimately, everything kind of played out relatively well. I mean, despite the numerous hiccups we had, both from gameplay and from technical problems, which ultimately swapped from us streaming the game to recording it.
Yeah, it just came to the point where just, like, streaming is just so much more work back in the day, because I'm not gonna lie, my PC is a piece of shit. I'm trying to get a better one created, and even then, I don't want to stream it because I kind of like the process of editing stuff out if there is a mistake in like things that we need to cut out.
Oh yeah, I mean, because we've had the occasional tasteless joke that kind of needed to be edited in post and just wouldn't have been okay to say live.
Yeah, no, that or not even like cut out, like bleep things or add in things that are funny. Like there's like a couple of clips where I add in like the fucking nat 20s that you got on multiple times, where it basically formed a fucking Tetris block.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, it's like with live streaming, it's like I would have to prep everything beforehand, especially with the assets that I have currently right now. Like I couldn't gracefully switch over to the battle map or the battle screen without having to go through a lot of things to set it up.
Yeah, editing and post and like just doing the recording, editing and stuff like that it's definitely easier to manage because I mean you can just do it at your own pace, whereas if we're streaming it kind of has to be prepped beforehand, and even then when you're doing it on the fly, you have to like keep it in time.
I will say
you got to maintain the rhythm of it.
I will say with this new PC, if it turns out to be the best build that I have, that I can afford, I might switch out the battle screen to where it transfers over to, it screenshots the battle map.
Mm-hmm.
So that way all the NPC, so that way I don't have to go through a whole bunch of, images and be like, oh, this is where the enemies are, and, show where, placement is. But I still want you guys to say, oh, I'm gonna move 25 feet to the left in front of this guy, or stuff like that. I still need you guys to say that, though, just in case if people are listening it while on the go or at work or stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll still be working on that, obviously, but I mean, at least you'll be able to show it, and it doesn't look like a Final Fantasy style fight screen.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, personally, I love that dynamic in screens, but for D&D, it tends to be one of those things where it just doesn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's understandable. But yeah, you back to your thought process of, it was a simple thing and then the plot thickened.
Yeah, so I really just enjoyed a lot of it. It's the plot really kind of thickened, everything kind of became much more murky and gray, and, I feel like a lot of it really started with Silverleaf, where we come across the bunker. We see it's necromancer undead research galore, and we come across the journal, and a lot of this kind of comes to a head at that point to realize, okay, this is becoming more and more serious because not only is the book stolen again, it's in someone else's hands that we had no accounting for. Like, it's like that hidden variable that just pops up and makes things way more complicated. And I love it because that's just good storytelling. In my opinion.
Yeah, I tried my best on that one. I didn't want to be like, oh yes, it was the Phantom all along. It's like, I had to throw some twists out there to make the story a little bit more interesting. And,
oh yeah, I mean...
especially when it came to the identity of who the Phantom is, which I won't discuss who it is right now. You're going to have to wait until part 2 of the Primordial recap.
Yeah, but... I mean, I did like it up to this point, and it's and the stakes really became high once we got to Silver. When we got to Silver Hill, is that what it was called?
Silver. Well, I mean, there's Silver Leaf, and then you went to Gale Meadow.
Gale Meadow, that's what it was. I was looking for the town for Gale Meadow. Because that's when the stakes became much more apparent, because we saw the research in Silverleaf, but to see the live action in Gale Meadow with the obelisk, it really sets the stakes perfectly. Like, this is what could happen, and we have to kind of take it seriously, because yes, while ultimately this is minor because most of us are just in this to clear our names and move on, we're also stuck here. And if we can't get away from it, we're going to be trapped when shit goes down. So this kind of becomes more of a high priority that we have to take seriously, because it really goes to show that this is where things will get dangerous. And I think it also allowed that to come to a head, especially with relationships going forward, because, I mean, that typical, well, this could be our last job. It's been a pleasure knowing you guys for only a single week.
Yeah.
Which I think was also really good and really done well, especially at Gale Meadow with Iris getting particularly flirty with Starzin.
Well, that's part of her shtick.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I know it's part of her shtick, and who knows? Maybe maybe she was just buttering me up to rob me blind.
Well, I guess it's more to talk about next time then.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that we kind of ran our course on this one, but honestly, I think this was a good recap.
Yeah, I enjoyed helping on this recap, going over everything, kind of giving my own personal thoughts and kind of explaining stuff from a player perspective, and even engaging in my many shortcomings as a player.
And more to come.
Believe me, believe me, viewers, there is tons of MacGuffins to come from Starzin.
Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching the Primordials recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do subscribe, follow, leave a like or a comment, and depending on what's going to happen next time, we'll try and see you guys next time in an actual session. If not, we'll go ahead and just post a part 2.
Yep.
See you guys.
Hopefully we'll see you then.
Yep. I guess, yeah, say goodbye, everybody.
The everybody in question. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys next session, and if not, we'll have another recap for you, and you'll get to hear more of my thoughts from the Creeper.
Yeah, bye.